Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Drop Your Noise. If you're new to this show, hey, my name is Kirti, and for those of you who've been listening out there, I have not done one of these in a long time, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you what has really been happening and why you should be listening to this. And a lot of it goes down to this idea of connections. So let's start with how it all started. This thought and process. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Curacao and I popped open my emails and it says, "You've been nominated by someone anonymous, Podcast of the Year." And I went, "Hold on, what? Do did I just read that?" I thought maybe it's just a joke. But no, it was really that. And then it invited me to share this out with others so that my community would be able or have the opportunity to vote for the show. Now, to be honest, I've just been doing this podcast because I enjoy it so much. I meet these amazing guests around the world, and I'm always hoping that at least one episode that I drop can, if it makes a difference or an impact in someone else's life, then that makes me really happy. So I said, got nothing to lose, and I'm going to share it out. Well, did I get an overwhelmingly wonderful surprise? So what happens is they end up sharing the votes with us, and we get feedback about why people voted for us, why our podcast got voted as well. And some of these responses really took me by complete surprise. Complete surprise. Now, let me tell you why. Many years ago, I had two people who really impacted my life for the worst. Their words were harsh and very critical, and it almost lived in my head on a daily basis. And so I felt very alone in my journey as an entrepreneur or as a woman. And I find that in this world that we were living in, or the way it was evolving, especially in the spiritual side of things, people were continuously giving perpetual advice when you hadn't even ever asked for it. People will always want to tell you, "Oh, this is how you're supposed to do it, and that's how you're supposed to do it." That it never gave you enough room or never felt like appreciated all that hard work you put into it. And back then, for me, it was running a yoga center, trying my best to build a community where people could actually care for each other. So when these two women who essentially, when I opened the center, I wanted them there and wanted to the best of my ability, make them shine in their own way. The feedback I got back, one called me a bitch, and the other one said, "Well, Kirti, you're not doing yoga like an Indian person." So what I felt was that everything I tried to do for the betterment of others and getting criticized, I felt at an all-time low. I just thought I just never want to share anything with anyone and I wanted to hide. And so I embarked on this journey for a long time. So fast forward, when I started this podcast, I wanted to just give a platform to voices that you wouldn't normally hear. I mean, so many people have done such remarkable things in their lives, but they don't want to share it or they don't think they should share it or it's not, you shouldn't boast about it. And yet, when I listen to their stories, it makes me reflect and grow. And I just wanted that to extend it to someone else out there. So I never expected or searched for the numbers or for the growth. Everybody would be like, well, how many people are following you and how should it grow? And I thought, no, maybe you should ask me the other question, which is, how many lives have been impacted or who has heard this and has made them think a little bit differently for the better about themselves? Because I know, going back to that day I was in, I never wished for anybody to get what I got, which was being criticized after all the hard work I did. Feedback is great, but when feedback becomes criticism, it can make a human being very, very lonely and very demotivated and uninspired. So when I got this form back and I was reading all the feedback or all the praises that individuals were giving me, and let's face it, not everybody who voted for me do really listen to this podcast, and you could see it, but it is what they wrote that made a difference. A lot of them felt somewhere or the other there's been an impact made on their lives, even and especially those who have listened. And that made me feel very heartfelt. I felt like I had won the Academy Awards and I was crying and I was like, well, I don't, it's not about the win, it's about the impact. And so I want to thank all of you for who are sharing. And if you share this with others, that we're doing it for the right reasons, that we're doing it to support one another along the way. And I'm going to put one more layer on top of it. In March, I moved from UK to Dubai. Now, UK can become a very lonely place, and culturally, it's quite different. And you're constantly feeling like you had to prove yourself. And there was a point where I reached where I just said, you know what, it's a lot, it's too much. And so I felt like a bit of a failure, and I left and made myself uncomfortable by coming to Dubai. Now, everybody thought you're coming to Dubai because it's about hustling and getting it out there. Yes, there's that. But I wanted to feel joy in my life. I wanted to feel the warmth of people. I wanted to feel connected with people from all over the world. And boy, did Dubai surprise me. It's not about the bling, it's what's behind all of that. There are people who've been living here from up to 50 years in Dubai. And the way they shared their stories, the people they meet, how they connect, it is very unique. It is, for me, a definition of diversity getting along together. And of course, that with that, there's some different rules, different agreements, different mannerisms. So Dubai teaches me a lot of the sense of how harmony can work. How do we believe in one another in working together? And I find that super fascinating. So coming here, I did not know whether I would enjoy it or not. I must confess, I did not have much hope. I just thought, yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to work. And while I'm still in the beginning phases of it, I'm a work in progress, let's put it that way. But one thing I realized very quickly over here, you gotta hustle and you gotta hustle the whole time. You're constantly networking and you're constantly meeting people. And yes, can it get transactional? Very quickly. Everybody wants to get transaction in the minute of like, hello. And for me, it's not my style. I like building trust. I like building relationships. And so I'm going to do what I do best, which is always, whenever I meet somebody, I always like to see and feel the best, beautiful part about that person. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer in the conversation. People say they don't like small talk, and I think that's a big missed opportunity. It's not about small talk, it's about genuine conversations, genuine connections. Because when you make someone feel not heard, not seen, but understood, like you're really listening to them without throwing advice at them, without right away putting you yourself in it, you're inviting the door open for a person to feel connected with you. And I saw that when I came back from Curacao in November, I started networking, and quickly off the bat, people would be like, "Oh, so what is it that you do?" Oh, and I felt a bit overwhelmed because I thought, well, you have to have that pitch ready. And yes, pitches are necessary, work is necessary, but a good business always starts with good relationships. Over here, your reputation matters, but I think that's globally. How do you want people to remember you doesn't start with what do you do. It's more about what did we have in a conversation that's going to make us remember. And let me tell you one thing. I got brain fog, my friend. I turned 50 and the brain fog right now feels truly real. So I try to remember people not by their name because I forget, but more so, I really want to remember them by their stories, the story you tell me, because it's the story that we are from within inside that helps us. It drives us with our decisions, it drives us in the way we see life, it drives us in our strength. So, getting that podcast of the year, for me, I feel like I won already, but it wasn't I won already. I feel like every guest that has been here is the reason why it is what it is. It takes a village. But in order for that village to happen, we have to allow ourselves to connect, be open to that curiosity, be open to learn something different, something about ourselves, even in a conversation that we had not realized. And in the networking, I notice a lot of us listen to respond, but there's an element of comparison. And that is where we just miss that sweet spot of curiosity, where that just that very thing that you didn't know or didn't realize could be the connector to make that relationship lasting, make that relation relevant. And for me, I think about these things. I think about the loneliness, the depressions, the anxiousness that goes around why we don't connect with one another. And if you look at the world the way it is, we're all walking like guarded the whole time. People go, oh, there's exhaustion. Here's another framework. Someone's burnt out. Here's another framework. And I think, what if we just stop? What if we just start coming back to basics, which is listening to our stories? Just take the moment to listen, but listen with care. Listen because of good intent. You always want to see the best version of that person, even if they don't see it themselves. And what would that impact have on their lives and in yours? So there you have it. That's my 2 cents for this month. I am still reflecting about how to go next year with the Drop Your Noise podcast. One of the things I would love, and if you can support me in it, that's great. I would love to support individuals who do need to be on a podcast, but feel like it's so much hurdles to jump to just being understood and heard online. And I would love to support them to get their message right on how to articulate themselves, how to articulate their thoughts, and feel that confidence rather than the scare of speaking out. And if you know somebody, happy to work with them. Just send them to me, get my email, pop an email saying, hey, heard about this, I'm interested. And I'd love to work with them. And yeah, let's do this together, letting support one another going forward because humanity, our greatest gift is connection. I leave you with that. Enjoy your December. Season's greetings to you all and for your family. And I look forward to next year. And remember, if you have something or you have a thought, do share it with me. I'd really appreciate it. Take care. Have a good one.